Seattle.
They should have kept that game scoreless as long as possible. That's what I would have done.
Well, our offense tried to do that.
Yeah, they did.
They played their part.
They did their part. I like riding the storm out. Good choice.
Yeah, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I'm assuming we've used it before.
I think we used it once before. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know what I really miss? I played it for Deuce today, and then he recognized it right away. I wasn't sure. I played, and how much fun would it have been to have this coming up? Kenny Rogers, When You Put Your Heart in It. It might be the best montage song of all time. For when you're, when your team.
In terms of the emotion of it. Yeah.
We knew it was 1 in a million. Anything can happen when you put your heart in it. It's so good, but I don't think we're going to have to worry about that one for a while. It sounded as though I guess Friday Football Feast was about as festive as it can be for a team that is our record 4-7 or 4-8. I believe we're 4-8, are we not?
4-8.
Yeah. So I guess it's as festive as it gets. Though I was told, because a friend of mine who ducks in and out of the Paul Allen Project told me it was a little negative early, and rightly so. It was talking about how if things don't get turned around and hurt, if we don't ride this storm out, we're going to have one of our worst seasons we've had in a long, long time. I mean, when was the last time? I mean, what if we do the opposite and run the table and end up 4-13?
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time we were that bad? Was that the McBounce pass year? Remember when McNabb was our quarterback?
Yeah, Leslie Frazier was the head coach.
Yeah, I think we won 5 that year. I think that was it. And that might have still been in a 16-game season. I don't know if we'd gone to 17 yet. But, it's hard to know. And, we talked about this the past couple of weeks. Last week, for me, was my most interest in a Vikings game in a while, just because, hey, see what Brosmer's got, right? And we saw what he's got, which ain't much. And now I guess the interest level just is, what can the anointed franchise quarterback do in the last 5 games? You look at the opposition, and none of it's great. Now, Daniels is going to start, right? He's been cleared to play.
Yes.
So he will play. So that poses... Though Mariota, I think, did pretty good for him. I mean, he's not Daniels, but he was okay. I mean, he's not chopped liver. He'd start for us.
We'd love to have. We might be a playoff team with him.
Yeah, that's correct. So, but they're not any good. And then Detroit's not any good. And they lost Branch. Did I see that right? Branch out for the year. He'll be out for a calendar year, man. I mean, 20. He's our best defensive player. He and Hutch. Even though they won last, that was fun if you're a Kitties fan. It was an enjoyable football game. Those I always love those playoff calculators. I mean, I know how it works. They've got some kind of formula. It's a computer. It's AI. But the Lions now have like a 53% chance to make 45, whatever it is. And had they lost, it'd have been down to like 13, 14. So. But you have Washington and the Lions, and then who else do we have? We've got
Giants, Cowboys.
Giants.
So we have Washington, Cowboys, Giants, Detroit, Green Bay.
Yeah. So Green Bay again. Now, when you get to that last game of the season, Green Bay might have everything locked. They might have clinched the division. We don't know right now. They're not in first place, but as the weeks play out, so that game might be more winnable if Green Bay just says, we're resting everybody. So we'll see how it works out. But, we discussed this yesterday when we were out at Shields. We did not have a Nico Medved show, the new head coach of the soon-to-be Big Ten champion Minnesota Golden Gophers. But he did do it on Wednesday. And on Tuesday, that means, how did that work? Oh, so on Wednesday when he did the show, we did not have O'Connell's news conference on because he does a Wednesday midweek thing during like 12:30, 12:45. So we missed this on the air, but then we talked about it yesterday because it was in the Fish Wraps and it was in the Athletic. They're now going to apparently just they've decided they're throwing all the footwork and the eyes and the feet and all the what's the word I'm looking for?
Mechanics
of the position, throwing that out the window and just say, go out there and just play ball, which is probably the best thing you can do. And then
I don't know why we waited that long to figure that out, though.
Well, that's true. And then the kid even admitted, this, and again, he says all the right. Remember, he told us that, he was a champagne bottle about ready to uncork. Remember? And he's 9, his alter ego. So I'm not sure I trust much of what he says either as far as what he thinks is going to happen. But he did have some quotes. Maybe we'll look at those and peek at the purple on the other side of the break. He had some quotes. They talked to the kid about what he's planning to do, and we've got more positivity coming from, and that's good. I mean, I'm glad he's thinking positive. But first he said he was 9. It's his alter ego, and he goes out there and he balls, and that didn't work out very well. And then he said, I'm a champagne bottle, or a bottle with a cork about to explode, and that was terrible. So I don't know if saying, hey, throw the mechanics out the window and just play football, just worry about knowing the plays, and we're dumbing it down and just get the ball out quick. Try not to overthrow your receivers. Deuce showed me something that's going around on social. Did you see it? Where I think it's from some third world country. It shows a bunch of guys on stilts walking down a dirt road. And then the caption on it was Viking wide receivers practicing for J.J. McCarthy. Yeah. J.J. McCarthy's out there. And will he be able to get the ball down and get it accurately to the wide receivers? I don't know. But I'm curious to see. I will watch. It's part of the reason I like NFL. I've told you this before. Middle of winter, Sunday afternoon. I got nothing to do anyways. What am I going to do? Saturday afternoon, 10 might go out and play ice hockey. Abbott might go out and hunt pheasants. Me, I'm hibernating inside, so we'll see. You'll hear the game on this radio station. Our coverage begins at 10. Be here for the pooch at 12 noon. No Lil B, no feminine touch of the program. She's out not only this Friday, but next Friday as well. Still doing a program password. Grimmer Nordo and the former International Boxing Federation super middleweight champion of the world, Caleb Truax, will play program password today. A break, come back, peek at the purples next here on The Fan.
We all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, challenged us, or just made learning fun. Now's your chance to say thank you in a big way with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominated an outstanding public school teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
This place sometimes. You know what else? I came in today looking for leadership. Came in early. Knew me.
AKA golf season's done.
Find it funny, Abbott? You're laughing and smiling. You're back at it again now.
How's it going?
I came looking for leadership. And he's always said, I've got an open door policy. Guess what? Door was closed. I saw him in there, but the door was closed. There's no open door policy here. This place sometimes. So, Peek at the Purple brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, Affordable Electric, Common, he's a big Affordable Electric guy. Affordable Electric, that's affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. They are shockingly affordable. Oh, boy, maybe we can maybe we can use a negatometer to jumpstart the purple. Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. We've been talking, a lot of people are talking about the quarterback situation with the Vikings. And here's what O'Connell had said during his news conference on Wednesday. He basically said, McCarthy has to have a clear head and a clear mind. We're going to try to dumb it down a little bit. Forget all the mechanics of the position. Just go out there and, start spinning it around the ballpark. So here's what the story from the Fish Wrap says. They've asked McCarthy to worry less about his work in progress, throwing mechanics and footwork, and more on making the right decisions with the ball. Here's what McCarthy said. A lot of the mentality has changed I was so focused on doing every rep perfect and making sure every little detail was crossed and checked off. I feel like Coach O'Connell and Coach McCown talking to me like, hey, let's not worry about that stuff let's worry about that stuff in the off season. Go out there, play your ball, just execute the play at the end of the day. That frees up a lot of space mentally. Be instinctual. React. Respond to what the defense is giving me. He goes on to say he called himself a natural overthinker. Oh, boy. Just what we need.
The opposite of this show.
Correct.
We're more underthinkers.
That's exactly right. McCarthy pinpointed that as the root cause for some of his struggles. I overthink things too much. O'Connell has talked about McCarthy's inconsistent footwork, posture, and throwing motion as areas that coaches continue to refine and improve his accuracy and touch. McCarthy said he's been overthinking those tips in games. He said it's not against them, talking about the coaches. I need to do a better job of compartmentalizing. I can say that word. Can you say it?
It is a hard one.
Compartmentalize.
Compartmentalizing.
Yes, thank you. Those coaching points and realizing when it's game time, it's time to let it loose. It's not like I'm totally disregarding all the coaching points, but it's picking and choosing which ones you carry into the game and what's going to be the most effective way of completing the play. Yeah, I'm sorry, he sounds like a mess, doesn't he? It really does, and he's young and he's athletic, and he's been a success. And I'm not giving up on him, and I'm not saying they should. We've talked about this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Well, I wonder how much of this is him overthinking or the coaches overcoaching.
Well, I think it might be a combination.
Right, like when he first got hurt, and remember it took like a month before we decided he was healthy to come back again because he had to be 100% before he could play. And the first thing I said on the bye week was, yeah, we really were working with him with the lining his feet and his eyes, and like, why are we doing that in the middle of the season?
Right, yeah.
That is an off-season thing. Once you get into games, it should be, here's the game plan, here's what Detroit's defense does. When they set up in this formation, this is what we need. That's what you need to focus on. And once you get in the season,
I would think,
you cannot be focusing on mechanics.
Well, that's what I would think. And I think that's what most people think, and maybe that's what they're doing now. And I'm thinking what probably happened to me, and we've talked about this as well. And it's a little, I don't know if alarming is the right word, but I think it's possible they didn't know how his rudimentary skills were really rough. And like I say, that's a bit alarming because you watched film, you had him in for a tryout, you probably went to the, I don't know, I think McCarthy probably participated in the combine. So you would think you would have known all those things, especially now I know he was hurt last year, but he did play some preseason before he was hurt. So you would think you would have known that those things had to be worked on, and then it goes back to had they kept, if you knew his mechanics were that bad, well, maybe it would have been better to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we better keep Darnold. Couldn't they have franchised Darnold? Kept him for 1 year, had they wanted to, right?
Sure.
Last year they could have franchised him.
I don't know if that's accurate or not. I should say sure.
Yeah, I thought maybe they could have, but maybe somebody can answer that for me. But
I don't think that would have been kosher to do. I could technically, if it was by the rules, you can do it. I think Sam at that point in his career had earned a contract, and it's just kind of even the contract he got is in terms of quarterback terms is not super expensive.
I agree. Matter of fact, here's a story that appeared today. Jeff Howe writes for The Athletic.
The what?
The Athletic. You're not familiar with it?
No.
Coolest thing ever. It's sort of like a USA Today for sports. It's got writers from all over the country in every major market and every small place. They got hundreds of writers, and they cover all the sports. And like Colton Pouncey is the beat writer for the Detroit Lions for the Athletic. Alec Lewis is the beat writer for the Minnesota Vikings for the Athletic. So they cover it. And with the Athletic, they don't really have as many. The dailies, they have shorter stories. They can do more long form stuff. Sometimes it gets too much. Sometimes I'll be reading, you'll read Krasinski's Timberwolves thing and you think, well, this is a novel. He's writing a book about the Minnesota Timberwolves, but you realize it's just a story. But he does a great job. I'm not ripping him. I'm just kind of teasing him a little bit because all these guys will write these long-form things, including Jeff Howe, who wrote a piece, Why NFL Teams Want More QBs to Skip the Draft and Stay in School. And if you read the piece, now he quotes people that request anonymity, so I don't think he's making it up, but it's SEC guys and NFL guys all kind of saying the same thing, where it's like, you'd probably be it would be good for the league, it would be good for college football, and it would be good for you. There's two quarterbacks that I think are the two of the most highly, it's supposed to be kind of a weak quarterback class this year.
Yeah.
But of like two of the top three, they're 20 years old. That's younger than McCarthy, right? Is McCarthy 22?
I think when he was drafted, I think he was 20.
He's 20. Yeah. So these guys, they're so young, and they don't. One of the kids has played 17 games of college football. You draft him and then say you're starting? I mean, and maybe some of them can do it. There are some guys that are wonderkins. They're light years. For some reason, they're a natural, right? They're once in a lifetime, generational, where they can at 20 years. They have their mechanics down. They know how to read a defense. They're just really good at what they do. But that's so rare. And so that's why you have these players. And McCarthy probably just wasn't ready. And I know it's complicated because we've all sort of decided, and there's probably a lot of truth to this because I've sort of come around to this way of thinking, and I think maybe you have as well. It's nice to have a young quarterback under the rookie contract starting for you right away and playing well, because then you got money to spread in other places, like Jaden Daniels last year. Playing on a rookie contract, taking a team to the NFC Championship game, and he's making the minimum.
But he was also starting his rookie year as a 24-year-old.
That's right. That's
as
exactly
opposed
right.
to being 21 like J.J. McCarthy.
That's exactly right. And so that makes quite a bit of a difference. And so I think there was a lot of miscalculations going on about where McCarthy was at the time they drafted him and where he was at the beginning of this year. And I think a lot of it is I think the coaching staff sometimes gets a little full of themselves with how much they can do with coaching up quarterbacks. But when you're told that nationally and locally forever, maybe you start believing that kind of stuff. But I had several people just text me and say they could have franchised him.
Yeah, I had someone text me and said it would have been like $40 million.
Oh, would it have been that much? Yeah, because you're playing what? Top
Which
five?
is making like 33 now.
Yeah, you'd be paying top five. I get that. Well, let's pause, come back. I'll peek at the purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com. They are shockingly affordable for all of your electrical needs. I offered yesterday to go to the Bullseye and give a pep talk to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Might have to do that for the Wild. I'll explain on the side of the break. Common Man Program on the Fan.
Feel the energy of the state of hockey. Minnesota Wild hockey is back at Grand Casino Arena. Don't miss the speed, the hits, and the roar of the crowd. Get your tickets now at wild.com/tickets.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man Program on comedies tend to be 5, 3, 4. Did you slap one together for top hole?
I did, yes.
Yeah, sweet. And then, because no Little B today, she's out today and next Friday. We will do program password, though. The former International Boxing Federation super middleweight champion of the world, Caleb Truax, golden Caleb Truax, close friend of the show. We text and talk more than most people know. He will be one of our participants along with the Grimmer. And Norda will participate as well. Teneby, if you remember, it's hard not to remember. I get very frustrated with the soon-to-be NBA world champion Minnesota Timberwolves. This edition of the Wolves so far this year, they beat the bad teams, but they generally can't hang with the best teams. Their record would confirm that. And then some of the quotes that come out of the locker room are just, and this has been going on for a couple of years now. The latest were the head coach, Chris Finch, said he seems like the team is bored sometimes, particularly on the defensive end of the floor. Having been to 2 back-to-back Western Conference Finals, you're almost bored of the regular. Oh, it's another regular season game, middle of the week, on the road somewhere. And Ant even said it seems like we don't even want to play these games. We're just waiting for the playoffs. And to me, it's like it's so unprofessional because people are paying money. You're an entertainer, so you're supposed to put your best foot forward. I mean, we know that Oklahoma City Thunder, if anybody should be bored, they just won a world championship. They've lost one game. They probably are more locked in now than they were last year. And really good teams, championship caliber teams, they're always locked in like that. I don't know if the playoffs would just start today. The Wolves would be in. I get that, and more than likely they'll make the playoffs. But even Ant said it's hard to just flip a switch and play defense. I'm paraphrasing how he said it, but to just flip a switch come playoff time and start playing defense, you got to build towards that, make it a habit, do it game in, game out. On the other side of town, the Minnesota Wild, their season started out, it was shaky. They were on shaky ice, cracking ice. And then the month of November, it was like a switch flip for them. Their record, now they lost last night, but their record was what, 12-1-1 or something crazy like that for the month of November. And their two goaltenders have been Frank Brimzik-like, Mr. Zeros, especially the young kid, the Wall from St. Paul. He had 4 shutouts this year, 3 or 4. 3, 6, 7, 3, 4, whatever. They lose last night to a pretty mediocre Calgary club, right? Calgary is a terrible team.
They were last in the NHL, but like as I said yesterday, the parity in the NHL this year is as close as we've seen in a long time. So there isn't like a bottom feeder anymore that we've had in previous years.
They were down 1-0, tied at 1-1. They went into the third frame and gave up 2 quick goals, I think, right away, and then an empty netter, and they lost 4-1. I'm told their goalie stood on his head on a couple of occasions, like our guy's been doing.
Yeah.
A couple of brilliant saves. Yakov Trenin, was he our only goal scorer last night? Didn't he score?
Yeah, we only got 1, yeah.
This is what he said after the game. I wish I could do his accent, because I'm sure he does, right? We had a lot of looks in the first. And maybe if we scored, because they were on the power play even for 4 minutes. They had a 4-minute power play.
And they had 4 power plays.
4 power plays.
Yeah.
We had a lot of looks in the first, and maybe if we score those goals, it'd be a different game. But I think after that, we didn't work hard enough to get rewarded with a goal. We tried east-west plays. Lazy, flat game. That's a direct quote I saw on the Fish Wrap Factory West Side. We had a lot of looks in the first, and maybe if we score those goals, it would be a different game. But I think after that, we didn't work hard enough to get rewarded with a goal. We tried east-west plays instead of north-south.
Yeah.
Lazy, flat game. He says they were lazy. Now, I know I'm sure the basketball community, which takes umbrage with much of what I say about the Wolves, we're probably delighted to hear this. I will give the Wild I'll give a team a pass. All of them. All right, don't let that happen. You let your kids, right? Your kids do something wrong. Okay, I'm going to give you a pass here. I mean, as long as they aren't stealing the neighbor's car. But if it's not something that's really not bad, you just don't do that again. You know better than that, right? Because the Wild have been playing hard. Obviously, you don't go 12-1-1 or whatever it is in November without playing hard and your goaltender and everything working and blah blah blah. But if he's right in that they got a little lazy, I don't want to see any laziness here. So, your thoughts? You saw the game, I'm assuming.
Sometimes it's hard to decipher in hockey a team that is working hard. Like they're always working hard to a certain extent, right? I mean, it's not like they just flat out stop trying. But one of my favorite cliches from our program director in the Corners office, Chad Abbott, is good is the enemy of great.
And mine is mediocre is the enemy of good.
And they've been great over the last month. And you do wonder if, we're pretty good. We don't have to give everything everything that we just did to make ourselves that good. Man, we don't have to try that hard anymore. We've given ourselves some room in the standings. We're playing the Calgary Flames. They're not going to give us much of an effort. They're at the bottom of the Western Conference right now. And I mean, they did, it wasn't like it wasn't 60 minutes of zero effort and just playing awful. they had a stretch in the second half of the second period where they were putting it on Calgary, and that is when their goaltender was standing on his head a little bit. And they had it even though they weren't playing great, it was still a tie game going into the third period. And things just fell apart a little bit. But it's one game. I'm not going to get too bent out of shape over one game.
And I'm not either. That's why I say I'm willing to go ahead. I give teams a pass, but I just don't. And again, maybe I get accused of taking quotes from athletes literally. Oftentimes, Deuce and I were watching last night. Kitties beat Dallas. So immediately after the game, they talked to Jahmyr Gibbs. He's the best running back in pro football, by the way. You can say whatever you want. That's everybody's opinion. He's the best running back in pro football. The best wide receiver in pro football is Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's not JJ. It's not Chase. It's not CeeDee Lamb. The numbers there, that you can't argue with them. We had that stat where since he has been in the league, no team puts up more yards than the Detroit Lions when he's on the field. When he's off, they drop to 25th. He's that good. He was brilliant again last night. Jahmyr Gibbs is just so good, and then you compliment with that. It's just their offensive line and now their defense, and it's unfortunate. And their coach sometimes gets in his own way, biting off kneecaps.
Told you the Dallas defense is bad.
Yeah, they're not very good. But we're watching, and whatever sideline reporter gal is, she's asking Gibbs questions. And they're always looking for these, I think, deep football analytical kind of answers from the guys. She goes, take on the Dallas Cowboys who had, how did you do it? And it just goes, how were you able to slow down a team like that or whatever? Or their defense have been playing well the last couple of games, and how were you able to break it down? He just goes, they just give me the ball and I run. Basically what he said.
Yeah.
They call the play and I just go. And
it's
they
not
break
that complicated.
It's not that complicated. I don't know what they're looking for. And so the reason I bring
He's fast and elusive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the reason I bring that up is oftentimes an athlete's response will be sort of generic, and sometimes they don't know what to say. I think it was particularly, I think in the NBA, because there is 4 games a week basically. And if you don't play well, and you are kind of going through the motions, and what do you expect them to see? So you just shut them up. You just go, we hadn't had much of an effort out there last night. We'll play better next week. Do they really mean that? Does Trenton mean they were really lazy? I don't know. I got to take him at his word. So I just don't like the word lazy, And like you say, were they lazy throughout the game? No. Second period, they gave it everything they had. But I I guess it wouldn't be the optics; it'd be the ear ticks. It's what I hear when I hear quotes like that. I'm just like, I don't like that, as Ben Lever once said about the Common Man program.
You could say, I don't like that, but on the other, I could take the other side of it and go, they had a bad performance and they're addressing it right away, right? Like, it'd be easy to just go, no big deal. It's just one of those games. That's what happens in hockey.
Right.
Whereas they're going, hey, we were lazy. That wasn't enough. Like, here's our standard. We need to meet the standard. We didn't do that last night. And at least they're addressing it. And hopefully that'll change next game, as opposed to letting that thing go from, as we saw at the beginning of the year when they went 3-6-3, where you just let that thing keep sliding and sliding.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with them calling it. I actually think that's a good thing.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is. I don't mind that. Especially if it doesn't become like, let's say, over the next couple of weeks they lose a few more games and they're going, we just kind of got lazy. Then you start going, because that's what the Wolves do. I mean, when you say that you're already bored and the season has just started, and you want to wash away these games and get to postseason play, if you're the ticket buying public, somebody had a great email yesterday. He says, maybe I'm bored paying hundreds of dollars for tickets to go see your games, Because in all seriousness, if you are paying good money to go watch a game and you're thinking to yourself, well, the guys say they're bored, and I can see they're allowing they're defensively, they're really not getting back, and they're not really. Now, last night, same thing. If I did not see the game, I'm going by again. Quotes. They won. They beat. This is the second time they beat the Pels this week, and if you read the Gamer, and I will. This is out of the Fish Wrap Factory. West Side takeaways. Timberwolves do enough to make it a sweep of the Pelicans. And Chris Hine is the beat writer for the Fish Wrap and the Wolves. Says the Wolves again made life tough on themselves versus the worst team in the West, but they left New Orleans with 2 wins. Wolves went on a 17-2 burst in the opening minutes of the fourth quarter that flipped a 2-point deficit to a 13-point lead, and they were able to get enough easy buckets against the Pels' full-court pressure despite committing 20 turnovers. Like they did on Sunday, the Wolves deployed a zone defense, generated enough stops for them to go on a run. But as it does say, they were once again, they allowed a team that they shouldn't toy with. They just kind of went through the motions, I guess, bored with the basketball game. And I guess you can't argue with the win. And then Ant, apparently, he had some foul trouble last night. His numbers certainly weren't where they were. I think I saw a note in his last 40, he had like 3 40-point games in his 4 out of the last 5 games, something like that. The guy's scoring at a prolific level. You know, he can put the ball in the basket, there's no question. But the team apparently, defense, they're not interested in playing right now, and I guess you just have to deal with it, you know, because it doesn't seem like that's going to change anytime soon. And I guess as long as they stay in the mix, it's like Finch said, and we read the quotes, you know, the West, it's loaded, man. Every night it's sort of like the NFC. Somebody sent me a text message that said, and they're right. It says if the playoffs would start today, Lions are 8-5, they'd be out. They're not in. And that's because the NFC is pretty top heavy. There's some teams with some really good records. Bears at 9-3. Rams,
Seahawks.
Are they both 9-3 or what are they, 8-4?
I think
they're both 9-3.
Yeah, they're both 9-3.
Packers are
8-3-1.
8-3-1.
Eagles 8-4.
Yeah. I don't think the AFC is quite as top.
49ers are third in their division at 9-4.
Yeah, at 9-4. And they're the last team in right now. So, and they got a bye this week. And over in the AFC, I don't think it's quite. I think those lower seeds, you know, the wild card teams, I don't think your record needs to be quite as good at this point. So,
well, even in the AFC, their 7 seed right now is 8-4.
Okay, so there you go.
Obviously, they've got the 6-6 Ravens would be in as a division.
Oh yeah, right.
And then they have 4 teams that are 8-4: Jaguars, Chargers, Colts, Bills.
Yeah. Text message says, "You two are such clowns. For years you've been saying NHL players would get killed if they ever gave less than full effort. Guess not. Like I said, it happens in all sports. You only rip the NBA. Well, it's because it only happens in the NBA. Consistently. Game after game after game after game after game.
I also wouldn't, I know Trenyon's calling their effort lazy.
Yeah.
There's levels of extremes of work ethic.
Yeah.
Lazy to me is like on the, that's like meat sauce common man level on the far extreme.
Yeah.
I don't think they went out there and were just flat out lazy. I don't buy that. Now, I've always used the example of there's a difference between going out and challenging a shot and going down and blocking a shot, right? Like going into a corner and absorbing contact and maybe allowing the player to get there first and then trying to defend him, right? But it's not like they're not trying.
Correct. Picking your spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, when I am a clown, I'm the clown from Brown. We say it at the beginning, is I don't run from those things. I know where I've been, where I'm going. So he's right. I am a clown. But he's fooling. He's a basketball community guy, and he loves his sport so much, and he loves his dear little Wolves, and so he just believes that they're giving, I guess he thinks they're giving it their all.
They've won 4 in a row.
They have, though they've said they said it. It just seems like we don't even really want to play these games.
They're a playoff team.
Which, again, if you are a ticket buyer, that's hard for me to stomach. Because then it's like, well, if you don't even want to play them, why am I buying tickets for? But...
Well, I mean, if I had my choice between a team that plays really well in the regular season and does poorly in the postseason, or a team that does not as good as they could in the regular season but does great in the postseason, They've gone to 2 Western Conference Finals in a row.
Yeah.
I think they might just be one. I think this happens a lot in the NBA where we're going to coast through the regular season, but we're playing for the postseason.
They don't do that in Oklahoma City.
No, they don't there. They do well in both.
Yeah. Well, and the reason they do well in both is because they do well in both. They give effort all the time. They're not bored. They look at it and say, this is great. I play basketball for a living. I have guaranteed contract.
They also don't have to give as much effort because they have so many players who can.
Yeah,
they're all well rested.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I will give you about basketball, and I know hockey, everybody's playing defense, but in basketball, it is your offense once, then your defense, offense, defense, offense. So you're playing. If you're playing hard, it's not like in football. You force a 3 and out. Well, then you go sit on the sidelines for a while, and you might sit there there's some of these drives go 7-8 minutes in game time, and then when you have. If you have a timeout or something like that, you get sometimes a break for a long time. Basketball,
even within the plays, you get 6-7 seconds of working hard, and then you got 30 seconds off.
Exactly. Where in basketball, you're going up and down the floor. But this one says, "Hey, common antenna. Wild just couldn't get anything going last night. It's impossible in an 82-game season to not lay an egg or two, especially after coming off 12 straight games with a point. Gus was solid. None of the goals were any of his fault. Things just didn't seem to click from the start." And,
Well, and Calgary played them well.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of the scoring chances they had, including one of the goals, they just made great saucer pass area passes that were hard. That was just credit to him. They executed. And their goalie played well.
They played very well. He was standing on his head much of the game. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't have the schedules in front of me. I don't know who the winter teams play next. I just know that the Vikings take on the Commanders. Washington. You'll hear that game on this radio station. Our coverage begins at 10. The Boom, actually a pooch kick now, scheduled for a minute or two after 12 noon. We'll take a break. When we return, Tenneby will have 5-3-4 for us. What you got?
Yeah, you've already gotten to a lot of my 5-3-4, but how about we'll do Has the Roar Been Restored?